Before Gato could beg for his life, the knife in Trixie's hand plunged into his skull. Death stepped out of the shadows with a smile on his face. Trixie smiled at the man with gray hair. "Please come and visit sometime. I have the recipe of the pizza pie you enjoyed in Chicago, oh so long ago," she told him. "I shall keep you to your word, young lady," said Death with a grin on his face. "I always do, Death. I always do," said Trixie with a wink of her eye as he takes the soul of the little bastard before her. Death stops for a moment and holds out a piece of paper. "I believe this will help with getting to all his accounts," he said as he vanished with a crying pig in his bony fingers. Trixie grinned, looking at the two before her. "Sorry I didn't allow you to your fun. But Death had other things to do," she said, grinning even more. Death is always busy, but most of his time is spent finding places he enjoys eating. "As for War is looking to make a little trouble here soon," said Sakumo, looking at the two in the office with him. "I figured much. When I was last in Hell, I did not see him around. As well, he is hunting for an Uchiha that should have been his prize once he died. But, like how Lucifer said, there are a few bastards missing," said Maze, looking a little annoyed as she walked over to the couch and picked up a towel that was on the couch there. "So shall we clean him out and have a little fun with him?" questioned Trixie, holding up the piece of paper. The two in the office grinned as they got to work. The villagers wouldn't know what happened until morning, and but for now the three got to work as demons and hellhounds appears in the office and cleaned the bastard out, and went to locations the others couldn't go to at the moment. Michael stood outside of Tezuna's house. He wasn't in the most pleasant of moods, and the others kept away from him. They didn't want to cross the man. No Archangel when he was in one of his moods. For the last time he was upset. Lucifer fell from heaven, leaving his twin brother to fill a role he wasn't ready for. Tsunami came outside, hold a cup of coffee. It was dawn, and she had woken up and made herself some coffee, and to just have a few moments of peace before the others rose, and the chaos would begin. She stepped out of the back door and down the steps and took a seat, taking a sip of her morning coffee. "Good morning, Tsunami," said Michael, stepping out of the shadows looking at her. "Good morning, Michael," said Tsunami as she didn't allow herself to show that the man before her had frightened her. She kept herself calm as she took another drink of her coffee, wrapping both hands around her coffee mug to stop the shake she felt when he had surprised her. "Till the next time, lovelies, I know it wasn't much, but I hope it was..." Chapter 21. Ace and Naruto come walking out of the house. "Well, Naruto, if you ever get tired of being a shinobi, I'm sure we can somehow find a way back to my old world and raise hell as pirates," said Ace, as she has a large D grin on her face. "Well, let me at least make it to Jonin, and then we can ask Maze or Michael about getting back to your world to have some fun," said Naruto with a chuckle. "Sounds like a plan," said Ace as she ran down the steps of the porch and onto the docks. "Time to train on the water," she told her brother. "Brats," said Michael as he spots the two teens. "What are you two doing up so early?" He questions them as they both freeze on the dock. They turn to face the annoyed Archangel standing before them. "Early morning training," answers Ace, looking at him as if it were the most obvious answer to them being up so early. "Good," said Michael, turning his back to them to face the forest. "Where are those three? They have been gone for way too long." He grumbles to himself, watching for any movement in tree line. "They will be back soon," said Naruto as he jumped onto the lake next to his sister. "Stop being such a mother hen, Michael," said Ace as she rolls her eyes at the Archangel, now standing on the dock watching the two teens spar. Michael narrows his eyes at his adopted niece. I wouldn't think twice in sending you to hell and seeing your father. He growls out at her. Ooh, scary, said Ace dryly at Michael as Maze walked up behind him. What was that, Michael? Questioned Maze in a sickly sweet voice. Michael turns around, his blue eyes meeting with her brown eyes. He grins, looking at her. I told her if she doesn't knock it off, I'll be sending her to see her father, he told her with a cheeky grin on his face. Maze spun her blades into her hands. Well, I can also send you to see your father and your brother, she told him with a wicked grin on her face as she licked the blade in her right hand. Michael's blue eyes sparkles at this. Well, it appears you and the others didn't have enough fun last night, he told her, taking a step closer. Sakumo appeared next to them. No, the thugs the little bastard hired were worthless, he said as his eyes flashed amber. I see, said Michael, looking over at Sakumo as a sword appears at his hip. Now, boy, we have to play nice, said Trixie as she appeared out of nowhere as she held a large bag in her hands. Sakumo and Michael shared one more glare before turning away from each other. Now I have all the deeds for all the companies he had in the land of waves that we can give to all the kind people he has made their lives a living hell, as well as all his bank accounts in the land of waves, said Trixie with a large grin on her face. Hey, did you get me some booty too, Auntie Trixie? Questioned Ace with large puppy dog eyes as she jumped over a leg sweep from Naruto. As her hands turn to flames and she places her flaming right hand on the blonde's head and pushes off. To slow, she told him with a large grin on her face. Hey! Yelled Naruto as flames surround him as well to fight off his sister's flames. I hate it when you use your flames on me, Ace, he growls out at her. Ace sticks her tongue out at her little brother. You have been slacking off, little brother, she tells him as she jumps back onto the dock as the other genin come out of the house to see why there is yelling going on outside. Trixie grins, looking at Ace. Yes, my little Ace, I got you some booty, she said with a cheesy grin on her face. But that is in another scroll and will be given to you later, she said in a low-tone voice but not in a whisper. Ace just grins even more, nodding her head at this. Tazuna comes out of his house to see what is going on. What is going on here? He questions them. Maze and Sakumo look at him. We killed Gato, said Sakumo, as he takes a drink of the sake bottle that appeared in his hands as Kakashi walks out behind the bridge builder. You killed Gato, stuttered Tazuna as his eyes grew wider. Yes, said Maze as she threw a scroll to the elderly man's feet. His head is in the scroll, she told him with a devilish smirk on her face. We also have all the land, company, and bank deeds and accounts he has in the land of waves to give to you, and the people of this country to regain your wealth you have lost to the little bastard. As well, do not worry about paying for a higher ranking mission. We have already taken care of that, said Trixie with a grin on her face. Tazuna fell to his knees, crying. For once in his life he was crying tears of pure joy, knowing that his home is free of all the hell that Gato had held them to for the past several years. Thank you. Thank you. You have saved us all, he cried out, looking at them. But we will still stick around until you finish the bridge, for there might still be some of Gato's men that we didn't kill around, said Maze with a wicked grin on her face. So I hope you don't mind putting up with us for a little while longer. Not at all, said Tazuna, bowing to the raven hair woman standing before him. Ace jumps on Sakumo's back, hugging his neck, looking over at Kakashi with a grin on her face. So Kakashi, are we going to have fun training together? She questioned the silver-haired jonin. Kakashi just pales, looking at the raven hair girl before him. He tells her, not knowing how to answer her. Chapter 22. Naruto with several clones sit in the center of the lake with Trixie, Ace, and Maze on their shoulders. So what did you get me? Question. Ace with sparkling eyes as Sakumo was left to deal with his crybaby son and the others. Along with Michael, who was at the moment plotting the death of Uchiha and Sakura Haruno for their entitlement ways. Sakumo places his hand on the Archangel's shoulder. It isn't worth it. There are more howler monkeys to deal with if you go after them both, Sakumo tells the man. Michael lets out a huff as he spins on his heel. Then you tell your son to handle those two monkeys before I drop them from the heavens, growls Michael's with annoyance lacing his voice. Sakumo's eyes harden as his looks over the group of people till they land on his son. Kakashi, he said in a commanding tone of voice. Kakashi's head snaps up from watching the genin train. Yes, sir? He questions before he answers him by calling the man his father. I need you to get your two students under control before my friend there kills them, said Sakumo with a dark grin on his face. Kakashi nods his head and pulls Sasuke and Sakura away, to have a long talk with the two fools away. Sakumo turns back to face Ace and Naruto, as well as the others that have stopped what they had been doing to watch the shit storm that should have happened. Ace, here is your scroll, said Sakumo as he throws it at the raven-haired girl. Booty, cheers Ace as she dances around on top of the lake with the red scroll in her hands. Naruto chuckles at her antics. Really, Ace? He questions his older sisters. Ace's sparkling eyes turn to Naruto with a large grin on her face. A pirate's life for me. No matter what, I will always be a pirate until my very last breath, and in heaven or hell, I shall still be a pirate playing ninja, she tells him with a giggle fit. I really want to go play pirate now, said Naruto with a large deep grin on his face. Ace giggles some more. Yeah? Too bad Pops is dead. You would have loved being a Whitebeard. But you're still too much like my baby brother Luffy. I think you would do better as a strawwat or a pirate captain of your own crew, she tells him. The other genin just blink looking at the two siblings talking about pirates and shinobi. Ace, calls out Choji as he isn't sure how to word his question to the raven-hair girl. Ace's head snaps up and looks over at the fluffy genin with a large D grin on her own face now. Yeah. Choji, is there something I'm able to help you with? She questioned him. What do you mean pirate playing shinobi? Questioned Choji with his cheeks slightly turning pink. Ace giggles. I was a pirate before I became a chunin. And when I got bored of being a shinobi, I went back to be a pirate of the seas. Here really suck. For all the pirates here are weak, and I was ruling the sea until I got bored once more, and I figure I'd come and see my baby brother Naruto and play shinobi once more. I will only stop being a shinobi the day my little brother quits and wants to go play pirate, she tells them with a large grin on her face. Everyone looks at her and to the blonde standing next to her. She isn't lying, is all Naruto tells them as Sakumo grins. That day will be a fun day. For I am going with you two little brats, he tells them with a large grin of his own. Hell yeah, they wouldn't know what will hit them with a werewolf that can swim. Cheers Ace as she jumps onto Sakumo's back. Now this has everyone wanting to know what the fuck Ace is talking about. But the girl is a little bit of a mind fuck, and not even Shikamaru wants to deal with the girl as she is already dealing with Naruto. One is go enough, and only one. Time. Skip. 2 months have gone by since Sakumo, Trixie, and Maze have killed Gato and his little pet. Alright, brats, it's time to head home, orders Michael as he was already done with this mission since day one. But they couldn't leave without making sure everything was done. About fucking time we get to leave. I'm bored, Uncle Michael, whines Ace as she looks up at him with her large silver eyes with a pout and tears threatening to break free. Michael lets out a sigh. I am going to send you back to your little brother Luffy in a large box with a pink ribbon if you do not behave, he tells his pain in the ass niece. Yay. I would love to see Luffy and have him meet his other brother, but not the baby anymore. It's Naruto, for he is younger than Luffy, said Ace with another pout, thinking about this. World of One Piece. Luffy sneezes as he looks up to the heaven. I'll make you proud of me, Ace. Also, Ace, did you know Sabo is alive? I just met him. So please rest easy knowing that you didn't leave me alone. I still have one brother, but I wish you would have been still alive when I Sabo. He thought to himself as he smiles and looks over at his crew from his special seat on top of Sunny's head. Back with Ace with Naruto. Ace smiles sadly. Luffy must be thinking about me. Something big must have happened during my time away. She tells Naruto, who's standing next to her. Yeah, but we will see him soon, said Naruto with a large grin. Hello, kitties. Chapter 23. Standing at the gates of Konoha stood teams 10 and 7 along with their senseis, as well as Michael, Ace, Zabuza, and Haku. The two gate guards just stood there with their mouths open with shock. Welcome back, teams 7 and 10. Welcome back, Michael-sama, Sakumo-sama. May we know why you have Zabuza and an unknown with you? Asked Kotetsu as Izumo nodded his head at his partner's question. Michael's cold crystal baby blues glare at the two guards with annoyance. They are under the Uzumaki Namikaze clan protection, he tells the two in a deadpan voice. They just dumbly nodded their heads to the Archangel's words. Just then, team of Anbu appear before the group. Lord Hawkage is awaiting you? Said a bear mask Anbu. Sakumo smirks. So, what does the old buzzer want from us? He questions, knowing very well that they needed to head to meet with the Hokage to give a mission report. He looks over his shoulder at the others standing behind him. Let's go, children, he said with a smirk on his lips, as his eyes flash amber as he looks over towards his son. Kakashi just swallowed, as he didn't want to face his father's wrath, as he has changed from the one he had once been. The man that Danzo had sentenced to his own death, though guilt and grief. Naruto wraps his arm around Ace's neck as they both began skipping towards the Hawkage Tower. Both just giggling and skipped towards the Hawkage Tower. Both just having a wonderful time as they skipped. The villagers just watched them with worry and fear, as a beautiful young girl is in his embrace, and they both seem happy. An unnamed Chunin opens the main doors of the Hawkage Tower, as they skip right past him as the others followed behind. Trixie giggles at the two's antics as Maze grins at this as Sakumo shook his head at them. Great. The devil children are back together. This village will burn from their antics, said Sakumo as he looks over at the frightened Chunin as he pales, looking at the Jonin with a demonic grin. The poor Chunin turns tail and runs for the hills as he didn't know what to do. Ino let out a sigh at the antics of Naruto and Ace, as well as Sakumo for putting the fear of Yami into the poor Chunin, who was so kind to hold the door open for them. Troublesome. I can't call them both blondes, but they do act like airheads, said Shikamaru as he stands behind Naruto and Ace, as they are now knocking on the Hokage's office door. Come in, came the voice of the Hokage. Both Naruto and Ace look at each other with a large grin on their faces as they both rose a leg and kicked the door open. Sarutobi looks at his kicked-open office door with a blonde he sees as a grandson and a raven-haired girl that had taken a vacation for the past several years. There in the office stood Ibiki and Commander Dragon, looking at the two. What the hell, brats? Growls out Ibiki as he glares at the duo standing before him and the others in the office. Ace smirks. Hey, Scarface. It's been a while since we last seen each other, she told him, still grinning at them. Ibiki blinked and looked at the raven-hair girl wearing an orange cowboy hat with goggles and red beads on it. Ace-chan, he questions, taking a step towards her. Yup. How have you been, Ibiki-sensei? Questions. Ace still grinning as her and Naruto now stood before the man as the others come wandering into the office. Zabuza and Haku stand off to the side near the office windows. This didn't go unmissed by Commander Dragon, nor Ibiki, who was watching the two near the windows out of the corner of his eyes. Why is Zabuza of the Blood Mist here as well as that unknown boy? Questions Ibiki as he is glaring down at the siblings. It is now Naruto's turn to grin at the scar-faced man standing before him and his sister, because he is under clan protection as we are the last of our clans. So, we get to bring people in, he said with a slight laugh into his tone of voice. Nicely played, brat. You know, with them under your clan protection, no one can touch them, said Ibiki, now smirking at the boy standing before him. We know. So, we also know that Zabuza and his student Haku will be under house arrest for about a month. That means they can choose to be shinobi of this village, or just be part of the Uzumaki Namikaze family, said Ace, looking over at the Hokage, who just nods his head at the girl before him. I take it the mission has gone well, questions the Hokage with a grandfatherly smile on his face. It went well, Gigi. Trixie, Maze, and Sakumo killed Gato within a few days as he tried to touch my sister. But she set his ass ablaze, said Naruto, who frowned at the last part. It's fine, little brother. The little bastard never laid a finger on me. But I did burn that little hand of his, said Ace, giving her little brother a soft smile. Naruto just slowly nods his head to her words. Also, the bridge between their island and the mainland. We just had a few stragglers of his little thugs attack us during the build, as they didn't like how we killed their payday, said Naruto as a smile returned to his face. Here is the scroll, said Michael, who places the mission scroll on the old Hokage's desk. We had the children write it up, but for the parts that Maze, Fleabag, and Trixie fill out, he said, smirking at Sakumo. Barrel growl escaped from Sakumo's lips. Laugh it up, bastard, he growls out as his eyes flash crimson. Enough, you two, said Maze as she takes both men by the ears. We are the adults here, not the children we are training to be killers, she tells them as they both glare at her as she lets them go, and turns around and walks back to her students. Well, senseis, are we allowed to leave? Questions? Ino as she grabs Naruto's and Ace's arms, dragging them to the door where Shikamaru and Choji stood, waiting for their teams and the insane Jonin. Yes, you are dismissed. As well, Ace, I would like to see you in my office in the morning, said the third Hokage with a smile, waving at Team 10. Zabuza and Haku, I will place you in house arrest in the Uzumaki estate, but you will be meeting with Ibiki for the next 3 months. But I do hope you will be joining our village by the time of the Shunin exams, said Sarutobi as he lights his pipe. Zabuza and Haku step forth before the Hokage. I wouldn't mind become a Jonin once more, but I am unsure about Haku, as he has never been a part of no village, he told the Hokage. I am glad to hear you want to join our ranks. This will make it much easier, said the Hokage as he looked over to Haku, as even Zabuza is looking down at the boy standing right next to him. Yeah, but we will see him soon, said Naruto with a large grin. The elderly man closes his eyes as he lets out a hum as he bridges his hands under his chin. That would be fine, but I have one question. Do either of you have a bloodline limit? He questions as he can feel a cool air around the boy. Haku gets nervous as he looks up at Zabuza with fear in his gray eyes. Zabuza places his hand on his shoulders, knowing what his son has gone, though. He looks over at the Hokage. Yes, Haku does have a bloodline limit, but he is frightening, though, to speak of it, because of the bloodline wars we had or are still having in Kiri, he said, looking back down at the boy. The third nods his head to this. Please do not fear your new home. We embrace bloodline limits. We have many in our village, he said, smiling softly at Haku. Haku swallows and slowly nods his head. I am an ice user, he said in a soft voice. But the third, Commander Dragon and Ibiki, heard him. That amazing. It will aid you greatly in medical ninjutsu, said the third as he pulled out some scrolls. Here, take these to study while you are in house arrest. I am sure Maze or Trixie will aid you in anything you need help with, he told Haku in a reassuring tone of voice. Haku nods his head as he takes the scroll and bows to the Hawkage as he turns to the Jonins in charge of Team 10. Come on, brats. Let's go have some fun, said Maze as she wraps an arm around Haku's shoulder as Trixie jumps onto Sakumo's shoulder, giggling. Kakashi looks at his father as the man just nods his and walks out of the Hawkage's office. All right, my cute little Genin, you have the week off, he tells him with a smile. Until the next time, kiddies. My laptop broke, and I was lucky to get in on an early Black Friday sale and get a Samsung Chromebook. Hello, kitty. Chapter 24. It is 1 month until the Chunin exams. Maze and Trixie stand before their students. Maze's brown eyes glare down at her students, as well as Ace as the girl is just giggling at her aunties. Sheikah closes her eyes as she lets out a sigh. Don't glare at me like that. I haven't done anything. If you are looking to blame someone for that prank on Anbu, look at those two fools sitting before you, she said with annoyance, lacing her voice. Ino leans against a tree with her arms crossed, shaking her head, as Ace and Naruto are both bound to a post, right in front of Maisie and Trixie, even though Trixie isn't helping any with her own giggling. Hey, they asked for it, said Ace with her silver eyes sparkling bright with mischief. Yeah, they didn't believe we could find their base and prank them, said Naruto with a massive foxy grin on his face as if he hadn't done anything wrong. Maisie raises her right hand up to her forehead. It doesn't mean for you two morons to go through with it, she tells them as she doesn't know if she should laugh her ass off at what they had done or just kick their asses for what they had done. No, it means we should do it, for Boar had dumped purple paint on me, saying he was the master of pranks. So Ace and I had to show him whom the gods of pranks are, said Naruto, still grinning, as he knew no one would ever top them in this lifetime. Kurama appears in a swirl of flames before the two women and the two bound fools. With him having me sealed within him, he had to do it. For my honor as a trickster, he had to do it. As a kitsune never backs down as well. He is my kit. He is a kitsune. Like I just said, he isn't able to back down, he said with a chuckle. See, said Ace with a D-grin on her face. We had to do it. Even Kurama agrees, she adds, smirking as her flames burn the ropes off them both. Whatever. All I know is we have to get ready for the Chunin exam. They are just a month away and you and my team will be winning this bitch. For Ace had won the bitch when she had taken part in it. That is the other reason she is here. She is here to aid in your training, said Mazi, now smiling like the demon she is. This makes a chill run down the spines of Team 10, as they do not know how to feel about this. Okay, said Ace as she blinks owlishly at them. I haven't trained anyone in a very long time. It will be fun, she tells them as she spins on her heels and smirks at her little brother and the girls of Team 10. All right, run. It's time to run or I'll burn your ass, she tells them as her right fist ignites. With this, all three members of Team 10 take off running for dear life as Ace is hot on their heels, cackling like a mad woman. Flashback. Ace returns to the Hawkage's office the very next day. She didn't come alone, as Naruto and Sakumo had also returned with her, for she hadn't wanted to return to meet with the old man. Hello, Ace-chan, said Sarutobi with a grandfatherly smile on his face. It slightly faltered as he spotted Naruto and Sakumo flanking her. "What brings you, Naruto-kun? Sakumo-kun?" he questions, trying to come up with his slight slip-up. Sakumo narrows his eyes at the elderly man sitting before him as he stands behind his hyperactive prior, maniac niece. "I had an unsettling feeling, from experience. I follow my gut feeling and follow it," he tells the old man with a dark smirk on his face. "Yes, I do remember, for you had saved all the children all those years ago," said Sarutobi, as he moves his hands to cover his mouth with his hands bridging before his mouth, covering his frown, not wanting to show his dissatisfaction with the man being here. Ace smirks at the old man. "I have a feeling this has something to do with what we had a fight about the last time I was in the village. Before I left to go play pirate for a while, as I do have a seinen pass that my father had left me before he had passed," she tells him with a dark smirk on her face. "Well, Ace-chan," began Sarutobi before he is cut off. "Like I had told you before, old man, I am not fucking getting married for a fucking polyyokel bullshit. As I am not a pawn to his village. If need be, I shall leave once more and you will not be able to find me. For I can have my uncle Michael hide me, where no one in this world is able to find me," said Ace with a feral grin on her face as flames lick her shoulders. Feral growl escapes Naruto. A guttural growl is heard coming from the young blonde in the room. "What the fuck, old man? What makes you think you are able to use my sister in this way?" he growls out as his blue eyes turn crimson as flames lick around his fingertips. "Now, Naruto, please settle down. You do not understand what is going on and what it means for the village," began Sarutobi as another person cuts him off once more. "Fuck that. We understand what it means to be the good of the village. We fucking know. As Naruto is the slave of this fucking village with the QB sealed within his gut, making him the fucking punching bag to those fuckers out there that would rather see him dead and you do nothing about it. But for my family, making sure those fuckers know if they try, they will die," growls out Sakumo as he begins shifting into a massive werewolf before the leader of the village. "As well I had died for this fucking place, oh so long ago. Because you allowed that bastard Danzo twist his knife into my gut and leave my stupid son alone for him to become a fool who blames himself for the death of his team. For no one had ever made him get the mental help he needed," he growls out as Sarutobi's eyes widen as the wolf is out of the bag at who the man standing before him truly is. What? Stutters Sarutobi with fear lacing his voice. For the ghost that is standing before him shouldn't be there. A smirk plays across Sakumo's muzzle. "I have come back from the depths of hell, as the servant of Lucifer, to watch over my nephew and niece, to make sure you bastards do not try anything against them," he growls out at the old fool before him. With a shaky hand, he moves them down back to his desk. I understand. My dear Ace-chan, forget what I have called you here for. I shall tell the Lord of Wind you have kindly declined his son's request of marriage. As well for Naruto, I shall inform the Lord of the Land of Tea that you have declined his daughter's request of marriage." "Fuck ya. I do not want to marry some pampered bitch," said Naruto with a feral grin on his face as his eyes finally turned blue as his flames faded away. "Good," said Ace in a calm tone. "It was best you dealt with Uncle Sakumo, rather than Aunties Mazi or Trixie, or it wouldn't have ended as well as it had right now," she told him with a smirk on her face as she spins on her heel. Stops before heading to the door. "If this happens once more, I shall pull all of the Uzumaki Inamake's funding in this village, meaning everything in this village will close down, and it will fall and pull all our money from the banks in the Land of Fire," she tells him with a bright smile on her face. This leaves the Hokage pale in shock, as he knows that the first Hokage's wife's family was the one who funded this entire village, as well as the Namikaze clan before they all pretty much died out. But for kids, they know they have power. I understand. He tells them as they have him by the balls. End of flashback. Sakumo sits with Michael in the clan courtyard, with a frown on his face, thinking back to a month ago. Still thinking about the bullshit the old man had tried pulling on the brats. Questions? Michael. Yes, said Sakumo as he looked over at the man. Michael hums in thought about something. You know we will speak to his mother soon. If she wishes, we will act and begin pulling all funds from all banks in the land of fire. We will have to do it in gold, for we will take him to the world where Ace had come from. Her little brother will need her aid, one day soon. As well, she needs to pay a bastard back for the hell he had placed her in before she had died. He added with a smirk on his face. I do agree with this, for it will aid them, as well, with what I feel what will come. It isn't good. Maybe we could take a few of the others they get along with, said Sakumo with a smirk on his face. Michael hums in agreement to the other man's words. I do wish I had tagged along with you when you had told the old fool who you truly were, he told the other with a chuckle. It was priceless. I wish I had taken a photo of the fool's face, said Sakumo with a chuckle. Training Ground 10. Naruto, Ino, Shika fall to the ground, panting. Ace stands before them, chuckling. Ah, you poor babies. You need to suck it up and keep going. If you need to puke, then puke and keep going, she tells them in a mocking tone. Naruto pushes himself up, glaring at his insane sister. Shut up, Ace. I am not insane like you. I know I have an insane stamina, but I still have my limits at times, he growls out at her. Ah, cry me a river, baby brother, Ace tells him with a shit-eating grin on his face. Fine, rest up. For next we are going to be going over your taijutsu as well as jutsus. For I do not want any weaklings going into the Chunin exams, she tells them as whines are only heard from the trio as they clap back onto the hard, cold ground. Chapter 25. Naruto stands before the gates of the academy. He looks to his right and left. Shika and Ino stand at his side with smiles on their faces. Are you ready? He questions his two teammates. Yes? Ino exclaims with a bright smile. Troublesome. Sure, Shika grumbles out as she stuffs her hands into her pockets. All right, you three. Stop wasting time and get your asses moving before I light a fire under your asses, Ace tells them with a devilish grin on her face. The three sweat drop at their part-time teacher antics. They just turn away from her and begin walking towards the doors of the academy as they are taking their first steps to their future. Ace crosses her arms, watching them walk away. I hope you are ready for what will come, little brother. But the winds of change are blowing. What direction are they blowing? I am not sure. For my soul tells me that there will be a great fire burning within this village soon. With a shake of her head, she spins on her heel. She looks up to the sky, watching a large, fluffy cloud drifting by. Oh, Lou, if only I had you here to help me, she whispers to herself. On board, the Thousand Sunny. Luffy looks around the dock of the Thousand Sunny, with an odd feeling overcoming him. His eyes drift over to his special seat. There his eyes meet with violet eyes of a crimson hair woman standing on his special spot. She waves at him with a soft smile on her face as she places something down. Luffy's eyes widen as he rushes over to his special place. Hey, why are you in my special place? He yells, demanding for the woman to explain to him why she was standing there. Now this has Zoro shooting to his feet with his single eye widening as he spots the woman as well. Yelling could be heard coming from the kitchen as Sanji comes walking out of the kitchen. What the hell is going on? Sanji demands as his own eyes land on the woman, as well as he spots Luffy rushing towards her. With a final wave, the woman falls backwards into the sea below. Now, this has the two men doubling their speed. When they arrive, they see the woman standing on the sea below, smiling at them as a ring of fire appears before her. "Please read the letter I have left you," she tells up towards Luffy as she steps into the flames, vanishing from sight. Luffy looks down to the scroll resting on Sunny's head. Slowly he bends down, picking up the scroll. On it he spots his name. Luffy, only for your eyes. Huh? Is all that escapes him as he turns around on his heel, leaving Zoro and Sanji standing there. As he didn't even bother to say anything as he stretched his arm up towards the crow's nest, as he knows no one is in there. Baltigo Sabo's office. Sabo walked down the long, lonely hallways towards his office and personal quarters. He spots a crimson-hair woman walking out of his office. He arches a brow at her as he doesn't remember ever seeing a woman with crimson hair like that before. Before he could even think about speaking, she turns around as her violet eyes meet his own. "I have left you a message from the past," she tells him as she vanishes around the corner. Running down the hallway towards the corner she had vanished around, he sees her standing before a doorway surrounded by flames in the middle of the hallway. "Do not worry. I have only been sent to deliver a message for a ghost. This may be the last time we will be meeting," she tells him to vanish into the flames. Pulling himself back together, he turns on his booted heel, rushing back down the old stone hallway towards his room. Slamming his door open, he spots an orange scroll resting upon a book that rests in the center of his desk. Slowly, he walks towards it, spotting writing on the scroll, "Sabo, for your eyes only." He stood there for several minutes just looking at the scroll resting before him. "Huh," is the only sound escaping his lips as he slowly walks around his desk, removing his top hat, slowly resting it down on the corner of his desk. Pulling back his chair, he slowly sits down as his eyes never leave the scroll resting before him. His black-gloved hand slowly moved towards the scroll. Lucifer's office. Kushina appears before her husband. "I have developed the two scrolls Ace-chan has requested of me," she tells him with a soft smile on her face. Looking up towards his wife, he smiles up towards her. "I am glad to hear that, for I have gotten word from Ruby. They have found out several troubling things that will be placing our children in the line of danger." Lucifer tells her with a frown, now marrying his face. This brought a frown to her own face. What has she found out? She questions, slightly demanding from her husband. Training Ground 10. "The exams will be here within the month. I do have hope that you three alone will be making it to Chunin. I will be doing everything in my power to keep those old fuckers from stopping you from moving on to Chunin. For if they try once more getting in my way, they will be burnt to a crisp," Ace tells them as she has a slight growl in her voice. Michael stood off to the side with his arms crossed over his chest, a smirk on his face. "Do not worry, Ace. I have been taking matters into my own hands as of late," he tells her. This makes the raven-hair girl to snap her head towards him. "What do you mean, Uncle Michael?" questions Ace as she has a little confusion in her eyes. He smirks at her. "You, as the others, shall be finding out in the coming days," Michael told her with a playful but sinister smile on his face. "Honestly, you are more like the devil than the angel you are," Ace tells him with her own cheeky smirk on her face. Michael just gives her a hearty laugh at her words. "Maybe I am," he tells her as he turns around, walking into the forest that surrounds them all, vanishing from sight and mind. Secret meeting room. Several men from the civilian council sit around an old round wooden table, as a man with white hair stood up, placing his hands on the table before him. "The Lord of Snow has sent me a request," he tells them all as his outburst has now quieted everyone in the room. His pink eyes gilded around the table, looking at the man seated before him. "What does the Lord of Snow request of you?" questions a man with lavender hair. A wicked gleam appears in the man's pink eyes. He has requested the hand of one Namikaze D. Ace, the daughter of our late fourth Hawkage, as he has been seeking a bride worthy of a man like himself. As well, she had caught his eye during the Chunin exam she had taken part in several years ago. When he had heard, she had left the village to go on a journey of her own. He had sent out main bounty hunters to find her and bring her to him. Each of them had always been sent back to him in a nicely packed box with a few ryo to give them a nice funeral. He tells them all as his grin grows even larger. Another man with raven hair laughs. I had gotten a letter myself from the Lord of Fang. He also requests the hand in marriage of Ace and her brother Naruto for his son and daughter. He tells the others, snorting at the idea of selling them off to the highest bidder. How much have each of them offered for their hands in marriage? Questions the man with lavender hair. 1,000,000 ryo from the Lord of Snow, said the pink-eyed man. What of the other lord? Questions the same man. The Lord of the Land of Fang has offered over 4,000,000 ryo, as well as 2 ruby mines and 1 chakra metal mine. Offered the raven hair man. I do believe they would be mostly suited for the children of the Lord of Fang, said the man with pink eyes. Off. In the shadows stood Michael as well as Sakumo with devilish grins on their faces, as they had gotten all of this recorded. So if they are questioned by anyone why these men have been murdered, they would have evidence as well as keeping Sakumo's threat that he had promised the Hokage. Shall we? Questions Michael with a dark glint in his eyes. We shall, Sakumo agrees with the Archangel standing next to him. Within seconds, Sakumo had transformed into a massive werewolf, as well as his hellhounds surrounding them both. As Michael's wings appear from his back as a black flaming sword appears in his right hand. Then night blood screams of horror and pain come from an old building in the center of the marketplace. Ambu was too frightened to even dare to step foot into the building. Even the shinobi kept to themselves, just heading home or to the bars, turning a blind eye to the horror that had been coming from the building. When the rays of the rising sun broke past the trees and walls of the village, one brave soul entered the building, a brave panda mask Anbu, only to return within seconds with his own blood-curdling scream as he falls to his knees, with his mask moving up as vomit comes flowing past his lips. Dragon had to be summoned. After the brave fool who had gone in, all others had refused, demanding for someone of higher ranking to enter the build, for they do not want to see the horror that Panda had seen as Inochi had been summoned to tend to Panda. Not sure if he even wanted to enter the man's mind to seal away the memory of what he had seen. Training Ground 10. Michael and Sakumo stood in the center of the training ground, like they had just woken their students up early to train, as the 3 of them didn't have time to waste, as there is a dark horizon looming over the village, mostly over 2 siblings. We need to make sure you 3 will be able to take down a Sannin. Sakumo barks out at the trio. Panting, Naruto rests his hands on his bent knees. Why not make sure we are able to take on an archangel or a high-ranking demon? He questions the man before him with a sake boot held in his right hand. Sakumo smirks. Well, you are able to fight on par with me for 30 minutes. There will be others coming out of the woodworks that might outsmart you, or even stronger than you, or even be able to outlast you in battle. For Naruto, the main thing going for you is your stamina, for you are a stamina monster. Even then you will grow weak after a while, for you are not a god, only part angel or devil, whatever you would like to claim to be. He tells the boy as his eyes harden at what he had learnt last night. Kurama appears before them out of his seal. He is right, brats. As of today, each of you will be battling me. I want you 3 to be able to fight as if you are facing one of my siblings. He tells them as each of them pale at the idea of fighting him. I'm going to die. Ino whines as she falls to her knees, losing all hope for her future. Don't be a silly child. We wouldn't allow you to die. Michael tells her with an evil smirk on his face. We are doomed, they thought as one. I had something else planned out, and with shock I had gone a different direction with this chapter. So I do hope you all enjoy it, for I am foreshadowing. Hello, Chapter 26. Flashback. Kurama burst from the ground. His fist digs into Ino's gut, sending the pale blonde-haired girl flying across the training ground. As her back slams into a boulder, Naruto winces as he watches his friend slam into the boulder. Damn. Rama, taking out some hate on the poor girl? Ace questions him as she walks over to Ino, checking on the girl, making sure she is still alive.